How's everyone doing tonight? Um, gonna talk about it. Everyone's talking about it. I gotta do the YouTube thing. I'm doing the Dan thing, and I'm talking about it very late. A lot of videos have already come out. I'm not gonna call this like a react video by any means, but I'll reference my thoughts on the need for immediate emotional high energy reactions and my distaste, my inability to personally do those things. I'd rather have the calm, cool, collected one thing too, like just wait for all the information to actually come out, and then once you have all the information, work with that. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do this live stream tonight a little bit more like PK style. The PK style will usually he'll rant and ramble about his topic for the first 20 minutes to an hour. I'm gonna try to keep this more concise. This is Dan saying this. I'm gonna shoot for 15 to 20 minutes. It might end up being 30 to 45. Hopefully not, because I don't want to get too far behind live chat. But I do have some notes that I took here. I actually was gonna do this for a video. I was gonna drop it on Monday. But I'm like, you know what? People are going to be asking me in the live stream about it, so why don't I just start out with what I would have recorded for a video on Monday, and then we'll talk about it live afterwards. And I did record a quick little 8 to 10 minute video for Monday on how I price cards, how I comp cards. That could just get pushed to the following Monday if I had to, or it could get pushed 2 or 3 weeks out if I want to recap Charlotte 1 week after I get back. So in a minute or two, once some people pop in, once some more people pop in, I will I'll just say, hey, I'm starting the video now. The video that will be for Monday if I decide to clip it off. Maybe I do this whole live stream, I decide not to clip it off, and I just throw the video as I recorded it for Monday. But yeah, I'm gonna try to not read live chat right now, because I am gonna do the whole video without a chat thing. Try not to be tainted, but leave your questions. Ideally, you'll probably be better off talking amongst yourselves and then saving your questions for the end. I will do my best to go back and grab any questions that I missed. But yeah, we're going to do it now. So, hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here. I am recording this live on July 31st, but you might be seeing this after the fact on Monday, the 5th of August. Happy August. So, CT scanning is now a thing in Pokemon. What I'm going to do in this live stream video, I am going to try to root myself in reality. I will try to root myself in facts and logic and reason and robot Dan lack of emotion. It's just, this is the information presented to us. This is the new world we live in. And what am I going to do with that? Very frequently, it will be big lines on thumbnails. It will be big emotional reactions. What's the hobby is over, the hobby has just begun, everything has changed. I did rate on my live stream thumbnail, I put this changes everything, kind of a RuneScape meme, probably a meme for more than just RuneScape. But anyways, the facts are that there are companies out there, there is a company out there using a device that exists in tens of thousands of locations, utilized by tens of thousands of experts, that have the ability, some amount of those people probably overlap into Pokemon. So you can't put Pandora back into the box, right? You can't close Pandora's box, whatever that analogy is, whatever that saying is. It isn't inherently good or bad. It just is. We live in this new world, this new universe where it is widespread, might be pushing it. I am a chronically online person. I think a lot of the people that are far enough down the rabbit hole to be watching Dan live streams, watching Dan videos, probably semi-chronically online, being in the 1% of 1% in deep level engagement into the happenings in the Pokemon space. If you were to poll the average Pokemon card consumer that partakes in sealed product that is affected by this, 99.99% of people probably have no idea this is a thing. Some of the videos got 10,000, 100,000 views. There are like millions and tens of millions of people who enjoy this stuff worldwide. So we are very deep in even just knowing that it's happening. And one thing that kind of frustrated me over the past several days as this has unfolded, I don't think it's even been a week. there are some high-level content creators. There are some there's just a lot of it's one thing to have conversation to educate yourself, like that's all great, but if you put a video out stating facts around the situation that are just proven untrue, like completely untrue, maybe it did just come out a few hours ago, but I think you owe it to the viewers, you owe it to the people to actually know where the technology stands that you're reporting news on, right? Like whether we like it or not, to some extent this is breaking news in the space. And yeah, a lot of things I could say about my distaste for the way a lot of mainstream media works. Like, you have to report on the news as it's breaking. I understand that, and YouTubers will do the same and all that. But when you are stating in your video that loose packs are the only things affected, and you have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and you're stating that loose packs are the only thing affected and this and that, and you're saying things so confidently that are incorrect, because there are videos out there that show that they have scanned. I will actually go quickly to this website. I'm not sponsored in any way. I'm not advocating for this in any way. I'm just dealing with the fact of the matter that there is a website out there that is charging you $75 a pack, too much for modern, blah, 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 whatever. The facts are, we'll get, later in this live stream, we'll get into speculation, we'll get into all that. But what is happening? They took an entire Twilight Masquerade booster box and they scanned for an individual holo hit within the box. How long it takes, how many people have access, how much the CT scanner costs, I don't care. This is just the fact that it's been done. It's been done by one person within 1 week, and there's tens of thousands of people with tens of thousands of machines that could theoretically do this as well. And a lot of people go immediately to the price. Again, as we proceed through the live, we're going to get more into the emotion. We're going to get more into the speculation. We're going to get more into all the unknowns and all the questions. I'm going to try to stay rooted in fact as much as possible. It is a fact that as of today, you can pay $75 for a pack to have it scanned. This is where some amount of a leap, but a very minimal leap, comes in. Presumably that price will only go down as more competitors enter the market. More competition, more price competition, more consumer selection. The price is going to go down. It is going to get cheaper. How much cheaper? I'm not going to speculate into that right now. Save that for an hour into the live stream. But anyways, it's happening. It's not just loose packs. It's been stated very confidently that they're never going to be able to touch boxes. They're never going to be able to touch cases. This is X-ray radiation. This is electromagnetic radiation that we're talking about. Adding a little bit of additional plastic, adding a little bit of additional cardboard. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. The company that I used to work for, we used to actually make, and I wasn't in this segment of the business. I was more in the chemical side of the business. We know that. But they make they make electronics components that would have to be internally diagnosed for voiding, and internally diagnosed for any kinds of imperfections and errors and issues. So we had CT scanners. We had technology like this at my former place of work. Maybe I'm going to have to make some calls, shoot some text messages, see who I still have a good enough relationship with. Who knows? Maybe some packs will be being sampled over there. I've heard so many people say that same thing. They work in medical. They work in some kind of industrial that has access to these things. And a lot of work is being done, I promise you, on replicating this and maybe taking it to the next level. One thing that we don't know as of today, as I record this, as far as I understand, all the videos that I've seen up to 10:39 p.m. Eastern on July 31st, I don't think they're able to look at like a beta magic box and look at cards that don't have foil. So there are some large amount of TCGs out there. There are some large amount of years where this isn't going to be replicable for the technology as of today. Technology advances quickly. What might be found out in the future, maybe they'll be able to find your beta Black Lotus with an entire sealed booster box, with an entire sealed starter deck case. That remains to be seen. But I saw several videos stating confidently that they'll never be able to scan a box while they were scanning boxes. While I was watching a video, in the comments of a video where they showed a box being scanned, I saw people saying they will never be able to scan a box. That's the kind of thing that grinds my gears, drives me crazy. So one thing, I know I've mentioned this before, I know I've done this, I've waved around my phone. The world we live in, where we have like a supercomputer in our pockets with access to all the world's information just at the press of a few buttons, and we're literally commenting on a video showing us that the world is round and we're saying no, the world is flat. Showing us that an individual Zapdos can be scanned out of an entire booster box, saying that it can't be done. Like what are we doing? What are we doing here? Please, burying your head in sand is not going to make this go away. Ignorance is not bliss, in my opinion. Knowledge is power, and the more people that have it, the better. I'm gonna scroll through here a little bit quickly, and then I'm gonna go back full screen. Again, I'm not advocating for it. I'm putting information out there that this exists, this is happening. One thing that I can kind of make an analogy to, call back to, back on E4 10 years ago, sometime in 2014 when I got back into the hobby, I learned for the first time that pack weighing was a thing. You could weigh, and a heavier pack would weigh more, and you could pull out the hollow, you could pull out the foil. Growing up, my hit rates buying from my local Toys R Us were significantly lower. I don't know exactly what they were, significantly lower than 1 out of 3. Presumably, somebody at the time knew and was maliciously using the information that heavy hits could be weighed out of packs, and I was getting the crap end of that stick because I did not know that. I could not arm myself with that information. I did not have it. In my opinion, more people having this information, it's power. Do with it what you will, but at least know that it's happening. Know that it's a thing. The thing, we'll get into it later. I'll rant about it. I'll complain about it. The inevitable, someone scanned my Twilight Masquerade booster box and I didn't get my Greninja. Like, every negative feedback you're gonna get on eBay over all the speculation on that. But continuing on, it isn't inherently bad or good. It just is. Arm yourself with the information. Know what's happening. Know what's out there. I go to conventions and I sell. Some amount of people still don't know what heavies are. One thing I used to do, and I say used to because the next thing after arming ourselves and reading up and studying up on what the facts are today, and it's a developing story, they'll change as time goes on, or new things will come out as time goes on. But one thing that I've already decided as of today, maybe it could change in the future, but highly unlikely. I am very unlikely to continue what I had mentioned in the past. I'm Dan. I'm gonna scratch your gambling itch at the convention. Come to me. I've got the heavy packs. I will be your guy. And I used to sell heavy packs and light packs because I thought they were the utmost transparency that I could afford to the buyer. And I always thought selling unweighed is a little bit sketchy because they didn't see me break the box. They don't know that I'm not skimming heavy packs out. I never liked the idea because there was always the question that, is Dan skimming heavy packs out? Dan opens a box. He claims that, oh, there's 12 heavies, there's 24 lights. How do we know he didn't scoop out 5 of the heavies and is selling 24 lights with 7 heavies? How do we know we're not skewing like Dan's childhood had a skewed odds of getting not 1 out of 3 hollows? How do we know that's not happening? I had no way for them to prove that unless I did it all in one box break, unless I did it all in one live stream. Even then you have the threat of reseals, things that we'll talk about in this video in a little bit. But now that pack scanning is a thing, if Ray were to buy a pack from me and pull a Poliwrath, sorry Ray, I promise you I did not scan that pack. There's gonna be the question, and I just don't want to deal there. I don't want to do it. I don't want the question to be out there. I try to deal with the maximum transparency possible. That is one of my key things that I just need to do for me, need to do for my viewers, my customers, all that stuff. And I can't do that now because one thing I'll add here, I'm a business. I need to make money. And one thing that I used to do, I scratched an itch. I filled a demand. There's a demand at conventions for degeneracy. There's a demand for gambling. And I used to be a guy who would sell one of the cheapest heavy packs out there. And I used to be able to do that. I used to be able to do the math on it. Hey, a box cost me $10,000. How much is that per pack? How much is that per heavy? How much is that per light? How much will I get if I sell light art sets? How much will I get if back when I used to be able to grade PSA 10 light packs? I used to just do the math and I could be the house. So I could be the casino and my customers could be the gamblers. I could guarantee myself plus EV, but I mean, not guarantee because ebbs and flows of the market. If boxes went down, if heavy packs went down, like I couldn't control all that, but I could run the calculus on here's breaking the box and here's how much I can sell the heavy packs for. Here's how much I can sell the light packs for. Here's how much money I'm going to make. Now though, if I were to sell unweighed packs, it's like one, he might have weighed them. Tui might have scanned him on top of it. And if I were to sell heavy and light packs, he might have scanned it. And if I were to one, I don't think it would be very plus EV. I don't think it would be being the house. I think if I were to buy a base set unlimited box and I were to send 12 heavy packs to scan, one, it would cost an additional, I mean, only $600 or $800 on a $15,000, $14,000, $13,000 box. So reasonable. When you look at the fact that it only costs you an extra $700, $800, $900 to scan all the packs from one box, that's $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 if you're depending on the box you're looking at. It's already semi-reasonably priced for certain things in the space, and it's only going to go lower, in my opinion. That's where I'm taking a little bit of a leap theoretically. Maybe no one else can replicate, no one else can do it. I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that it won't get cheaper. I will say that. But if I were to go and start scanning all those, there's a 75% chance you're going to have a Charizard in a base set box, approximately. You have 12 hollows in a box. You have 15 hollows to choose from because there's 16 in base, but you have the Machamp that isn't included in there. So if you do the math on that, 12 out of 15 is 12 out of 15 is like 80%, but you're gonna have some boxes with, so on average you'll have 0.8 Charizards per base set unlimited box. Some you'll have multiple, some you'll have zero. But this is the next thing that I'm gonna get into. A lot of sealed product, a lot of old, more scarce sealed product is inherently negative EV. So what are the implications? Maybe let me see. Let me see how I want this to flow. Maybe I'll continue on this line, but maybe I'll divert somewhere else. Let's continue on. So inherently, most sealed product is quite negative EV. Base set unlimited box. Say you get a smoking deal on it, 13 grand. I think they're going closer to 14, maybe 15 right now. I could be wrong. Maybe they're 12. Say 12 grand. 12 grand. How do you get to 12 grand? A PSA 9 base unlimited Charizard is about 1,200 bucks. I just sold a PSA 9 Mewtwo recently for 130. Blastoise is maybe a few hundred. If you open all 12 and if you open 12 Charizards and they're all PSA 9, I mean, you're barely getting over grading fees, selling, all that stuff. You're barely getting over the cost of the box. You're never going to open 12 Charizards in a box unless some kind of a major error happens. Unless someone's resealing a box for content. Say you scan an Evolving Skies box. Well, Evolving Skies is a newer one where there's a lot more of them. So if you hit a PSA 10 Moonbreon, if you hit a raw Moonbreon, you're almost making your money back. But the fact of the matter is, Moonbreon is a 1 in 30 box pull. 1 in 1,000 packs, 36 packs per box. Approximately a 1 per 30 box pull. If you have to pay to scan 30 boxes to on average find one Moonbreon, obviously there's the Rayquaza, there's the other cards. There's the EV is not just the holo cards. The EV is not just you can sell the lights, you can do this, that you can do that. I understand all that. But still, when you start doing the math on like how is this going to affect a team up box that's $2,000. How is this going to affect if someone was to scan to guarantee getting the certain hit? What is that even going to be worth? What is that going to mean? Say you scan a base set box and you know there's 2 Charizards in it. What's someone going to pay for that now? Because that is more than you would expect. You would expect on average 0.8. I mean, 1 is more than you would expect. But on average, the average box will have 1 or more. Sorry, the median box, I guess. Most boxes will have at least 1 Charizard, but the average box only has 0.8, right? Less than 1. So there's so many, this is where we're starting to get into some speculation. There's so many avenues you can go down. I'm not holding any of it. So what am I doing today as of this news? I don't have any sealed WotC boxes. I don't have any heavy packs anymore. Last one I sold on stream, on PK stream, and they all pulled a Venusaur. I did not scan that pack, I promise. But yeah, so I'm ceasing buying any WotC boxes for the immediate future. Maybe I'll buy one to keep sealed for investment. I don't know. I highly doubt that I will. I've had the thought from time to time, but it's always been profitable to just sell heavy, sell lights, and so I've done that. But Catch 'em all collectibles will no longer, not at Charlotte, not at Chicago. I will no longer be the heavy pack guy because it's just it's like radioactive. No, scanning your booster packs does not make them radioactive, but heavy packs, even sealed WotC, even to the 1% of the market that is affected by this, to that like thin sliver of the market at the top where that is. it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. So it's a big deal in that the people that it affects very heavily. But it's a small deal in a lot of ways, given that 99.99% of Pokemon consumers have no idea that any of this is happening. In 2 years, maybe only 5 or 10% will know. And even then, 90 to 95% of people, this is me just making up random numbers, so we're getting to that point of the video. I try to say like what's facts, what's known, what's opinion, what's subjective, what's speculative. This is where I'm getting into making up some numbers and speculating more. But 90 to 95% of people in 2 to 5 years will likely not be materially affected by this, because though I think it will get cheaper than $75 a pack as it is today, I don't think it will get to where it's feasible to scan for a 1 in 1,000 hit rate Twilight Masquerade Greninja, or a 1 in 1,000 hit rate Evolving Skies Moonbreon. I don't think we'll get there, at least not anytime soon. Maybe I could be surprised if we were to get there. If there's a risk, if there's a thought of, hey, any company, a Troll and Toad, a Dave and Adams, any of these companies could reasonably buy a CT scanner and very quickly assembly line 1,000 packs a minute, they can, or 1,000 boxes a minute, they can just scan things at will on a I don't think we're gonna get there, but if we did, Pokemon would have a serious problem. And that's where I'm gonna get into the next thing. What is Pokemon going to do about this, if anything? I've seen some people making claims, thinking, and it's fine to have your opinion. This is my opinion too, but I'm gonna try to back my opinion with like, this is why I have the opinion, this is why I think that this is going to be the case. I don't think Pokemon is going to encase booster boxes with lead. I don't think they are going to wrap booster packs with anything that will be impenetrable to CT scanners. Because when you're dealing with mass, if the foil hits way more than the non-foil hits, you can work with that. You can add reverse hollows to the non-hollow packs, to the non-hit packs, to make them way more. You can add a heavier code card. You can add a hollow code card. Like, there are things you can do to make the weight of a non-hit pack match a hit pack. When you start talking about, I need to add some kind of electromagnetic interference between the outside of the box and the inside, the pack, the box, the case, whatever avenue they're going to, it's extremely likely not going to be feasible, one. And two, even if it was, it took Pokemon 20 years. 20 years, packs were weighable. And Breakpoint, Breakthrough, somewhere in there, they started changing the weight of the code cards. They knew, I don't know when they knew. I would be surprised if they did not know in 1999. I would be surprised if they did not know in 1996. Because even though like base set, certain old fossil boxes, all of them had hollow, so weighing wasn't a thing. But some only 50% did. Base set, and maybe, like, this is speculation again, base set, half of the packs had a hit, right? In a base set booster box, Japanese. Jungle and Fossil 100% did. Did they make that switch because they didn't want them to be weighable? Did they make that switch because they knew they were weighable? That's speculation, I don't know, but that could have been the case. But it took them 20 years to add a code card of different weight, and it took them how long? All the Japanese reseal boxes, and it took them a long time to add a pull tab to Japanese booster boxes. That still doesn't stop the ability for someone to just pull packs out of the side. Like, what are we talking about here? We think Pokemon is going to be lead shielding, graphite shielding, whatever kind of materials will prevent the pass-through of X-rays. And then, can someone just go on to the next level after X-rays? Can we do some kind of a gamma ray CT scanner? Now I'm really going off the rails. I don't know what I'm talking about there. I'm out of my depth there on the analytical side of what tools are out there, what tools could feasibly be generated or used. If money is there, though, if money is there, someone will be seeking it. Someone will be, and the big thing with me, again, as I said earlier, this news is not inherently good or bad. It just is. If you arm yourself with the information, I think that is a good for everyone. The more people that are more informed, the better. Because 25 years ago, I was getting scammed by whoever was weighing packs in my local Toys R Us. People are having that happen today to some extent. And it sucks. It sucks when bad actors have information that general consumers do not have. It sucks when people sell unweighed packs that were light. It sells when people sell heavy, true 1 out of 15 Charizard chance packs when they've already scanned it and they know it's a Poliwrath or a Ninetales or a Hitmonchan. But yeah, the question becomes on a lot of this stuff, Well, if people do start scanning it, what is someone going to pay for a guaranteed? I mean, base set heavies I used to sell for $650 or $700. A PSA 9 Charizard, like, it does make money. It makes a few $100, but that's really the only card in PSA 9 that makes money. PSA 9 Blastoise doesn't. What are people gonna do? What are the prices gonna do if people start selling at conventions? Hey, I'm gonna give you a chance to guaranteed open a Charizard, guaranteed open a Moonbreon. It's interesting to speculate about what the market value of those things will be. Nick and I on PokeFlips on Friday, we speculated that, like, hey, what would a PSA 9, sorry, not a PSA 9, what would a base set heavy Charizard scanned first edition booster pack sell for? I would guess, speculation, 40 to 50 grand. Somewhere around like a BGS 9.5, CGC 9.5, higher than that price, higher than a PSA 9 price, and it could end up being an 8. One thing that I actually had a voice chat earlier, hopefully she doesn't mind, but Maki turned me on to an idea that I never thought of before. But resealing has always been a thing. Resealing has always been some amount of a risk. Buy from trusted sources, and you're likely to get unweighed packs. Buy from trusted sources, and you'll be likely to get unscanned, unweighed, true. Whatever they are selling you, they're likely providing you if they are trusted and if they have a name and a brand that is at risk if they were to cheat you. So yeah, always go to trusted sources. But one thing that she kind of mentioned in an earlier Patreon Pokenomics Discord chat was how many people will go out there and they will reseal a base set unlimited pack with, I mean, take a light pack. Well, you don't really need to take a light pack and open it, because you can sell a light pack as light. You can find a light wrapper somewhere, whatever you got to do to get a light wrapper. I hope people don't do this, but people likely have done this. People likely will do this in the future. If you take a PSA 8 quality base set unlimited Charizard and you put them in the proper order and you put them with true near mint plus, like PSA 8, 9, 10 quality non-hollow cards, you could build and reseal a base set unlimited pack with a Charizard in it that would scan as sealed with a Charizard in it. Is the CT scanner going to be able to pick up on the fact that that's a resealed pack? Very likely, in my opinion, speculating, I think that they would not be able to pick up on the fact, because you're not gluing it, you're not gluing packs shut, you're reheat crimping packs shut. And the risk that the first CT scanned Charizard base pack that's for sale on eBay, for sale at a convention, the risk that someone, again, if it's a known trusted source who's utilizing that service, that's one thing. But if it's a no name, no trust, no brand, they might have just created that, resealed that, created that collectible. Maybe it's a resealed box. No one's gonna be able to Logan Paul, G.I. Joe, that whole fiasco. We all got duped, agreed. No one's gonna be able to do that anymore. The risk is too high. Who's to say base set first edition is a whole different animal? But who's to say someone can't reseal a case or reseal a box and make it all look proper, make it all look CT scannable as it should be? But they did it all with PSA 8 quality hollows. It's like there are so many risks, there are so many layers to all that bad actor, all that bad nasty stuff that we don't want. There's some risk of it being there. But the more that people know, the better. And deal with trusted people, deal with trusted sources. Yeah, I don't know. That's most of my rant. Let me make sure I have everything. I hit all my points. Yeah, I don't think Pokemon is gonna do anything. If in 2 to 5 to 10 years, Pokemon is seeing a massive effect on their bottom line, they would do something. If this permeates and if this spreads, if you start hearing people talking in Walmart in the Pokemon aisle, I wonder if anyone has a CT scanner in their pocket on their phone that they scan these. If this really spreads like crazy, which I would lean towards it not happening, Pokemon would do something if they had to, if their bottom line was being affected. I don't think their bottom line will be affected by this. Pokemon does not deal in the secondary market on old product, and inherently, the new modern product that they sell is just too cheap to likely ever make this reasonable or feasible. So Pokemon, by definition, only operates in the past 2 years worth of sets, the things that are in print, the things that are actively in rotation in print. So Pokemon, unless there are major secondary market effects in the coming 2 to 5, 10 years, if this really sends waves throughout the hobby, then Pokemon might have to react. But I don't think they'll ever see primary market issues with it to where they'll have to put lead or anything like, obviously, the EHS, the environmental health and safety concerns that would come with lead, but maybe something else is there. Product is negative EV. even if you scan a Heart Gold Soul Silver box and you see that it's got the Lugia legend in it, and you see that it's got the Ho-Oh legend in it, the hit from the box, if you scan an EX Deoxys box and it's got a Rayquaza Gold Star, in PSA 9 that's only $9,000. In PSA 10 that might pay for the whole box. That might pay for the whole box in PSA 10, but you're likely not going to get a PSA 10. And what's the risk? That it was planted in there and it's a PSA 8 quality one. Like, so many issues. What is an EX Deoxys box worth that's scanned, guaranteed to not have gold stars? What is it worth if it's guaranteed to have a Latias? Only 50% of boxes will have a gold star. 1/3 of the time it will be Latios. 1/3 of the time it will be Latias. 1/3 of the time it will be Rayquaza. Rayquaza Gold Star is a one in a case pull on average. If you open a whole case, doesn't mean you're going to get one, but on average, a 1 in a case pull. So, not likely. 1 in 6 chance your box is going to have a Rayquaza Gold Star. How much does the price go up? How much does it go down if it does actually have or doesn't have one? The gamble being taken out of this is a big deal. The gamble is what fuels this hobby. The foundation of this hobby is gambling. That's literally what this is. You walk down the toy aisle at Walmart, Toys R Us, wherever. I did go to Toys R Us last year, the American Dream Mall. If you walk down a toy aisle, the amount of mystery bag, the amount of people just selling mystery, like, why sell an item when, say there's 12 of a Lego minifigure in a set? Why sell 12 individual Lego minifigures? Make one of them more exclusive, more rare, more cool and chase-worthy, and then make 11 of them just more common, whatever. And people will buy 100 boxes chasing that one, that final 12th one they need. It's a tried and true method. Gambling is a very old, tried and true business model. So yeah, it's interesting to think, how is it affected by taking that angle away? And yeah, that's last couple things that I want to talk about. It's always interesting to see the chronically online, as I mentioned earlier, which I am, but the people who are not affected whatsoever, the people who are not even up to date on what all the information is relevant to the thing, talking about, like, oh, and again, if you're having a conversation, if you are educating yourself, if you're in the process of educating yourself, that's one thing. But if you are someone with hundreds of thousands of subscribers saying something provably false, saying something demonstrably false by a video that was made days ago, it's like, what are we doing here? But yeah, like, is this all just a flavor of the month thing? Is this just a flavor of the week thing? Remember when GameStop was going to fundamentally change the hobby? Remember when, like, all the individual news stories, I can't even remember them. This is one that will stand out. This is one that we will still be talking about in 2 years. Will we still be talking about GameStop changing everything? Will we still be talking about Zhao resealing cases? Will we still be talking about all these other things that I can't even remember because we're already not talking about them 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, 3 years later? This one I think we will. Pack weighing 10 years ago, I was always on the side of, I'm going to weigh them. I was weighing packs and disclosing it, always disclosing it, before a lot of people were comfortable. Some amount of the people that weren't comfortable, were they the ones taking advantage of the information? They weren't comfortable with it getting out there. They wanted everyone to remain ignorant. Some of them maybe because they were acting in unsavory ways on that. Some people that don't want this information going out there may have been acting in unsavory ways on this technology. I am always of the knowledge is power thing. I know I've said that 5 times now. So I'm going to try to wrap up here and then go into the actual live chat. One funny note that I made, people think like a $50,000 machine is cost prohibitive. People think a $500,000 machine is cost prohibitive. I've been talking about Pokemon. Sports exists. Triple Logo Mans exist. How much of that has gone on? There was that Instagram post where someone actually showed, like, hey, you can scan a Logo Man. This has been going on for a while. How true that was, how long that had been going on, I have no idea. But Pokemon is the tip of the iceberg. Sports, one theory that I had, that I tried doing a little bit of internet sleuthing, I tried doing a little bit of debunking, going on YouTube, X-raying, CT scanning, a scratch-off ticket. Like, can someone in a gas station selling scratch-off tickets overnight, can they take the roll home? Can they scan a whole roll? Can they find the $10,000 a week for life? I would think that companies that are in a multi-billion-dollar industry of scratch-off tickets would have that whole thing like sorted out and figured out. I would assume that they have that technology sorted out, but it'll be interesting if someone does it, if they share that information. Maybe they'll keep that one close to the chest. But yeah, there's a lot of potential implications out there. There's a lot of noise by a lot of people that have no idea what they're saying. There's a lot of noise by people who are not affected whatsoever. I'm affected. I've actually changed my business strategy. I'm changing the way I'm interacting in the hobby because of this news. So I'm not the heavy pack seller anymore because I can't do it in a way where people won't have questions. There's always been some amount of questions. Did Dan reseal these packs? You can vet that to some extent. If you know what you're doing, you can kind of vet like, okay, I watched Dan open the box. There's like, he could have resealed that too, but I'm pretty comfortable with like the fact that this isn't resealed. You can't be comfortable with the fact that I didn't CT scan something. That doesn't leave any evidence. That doesn't leave any trace. Is there a way that Pokemon could do some kind of a wrapping on a booster box that, and I forget where I saw this. Maybe it was on the Poke SMP podcast. In the comments, I think somebody left it. Is there a clear wrapping that you could put around a Pokemon booster box that when introduced to X-ray radiation, would this be an issue when you go through the TSA scanners at an airport? So how reasonable this is, how logical this is, I have no idea, but it was an interesting thing that I wanted to talk about. Could they put a clear plastic around it that turns opaque when it's been X-ray scanned? I know where I used to work, we used to have gauges and things that we'd put on. We'd ship certain very sensitive equipment, very sensitive material. We would have temperature gauges on it that if the temperature went above or below certain numbers, the label would irreversibly change in color, change in some way. We had things that you can buy a little thing that'll stick on the side of a package. If a package ever tilts past a certain degree, it will irreversibly make some color change. It will make something evident to where like this package has been tilted. Whatever's inside might be broken. You need to check it. This package has been increased above 50 degrees Fahrenheit. You need to check whatever's in here. It might be damaged. It might be bad. Those things exist. Does there exist or can there be created? This item has been exposed to this amount of X-ray radiation. I have no idea, but it's an interesting thought. How cheaply could that be done? How quickly could that be implemented? That would only apply forward-looking on the old on the new stuff, right? But interesting thoughts. What is the way around this? If not putting lead in packs, if not other things, how could we fix this? How could Pokemon get around this? It's interesting thoughts. It's very interesting thoughts. I think that's everything. That is all of my notes. Are tins affected? Certain other aspects. Tins, I think tins would be able to be scanned through just by the fact that there are Flawless, I believe, Flawless National Treasure, some of those products, they have like an aluminum briefcase that people are scanning for the logo man. So I think tins would be subject to being able to be scanned, but I'm not positive. I've seen people confidently say in comments on YouTube's and wherever, one, that you can scan tins, definitely. I've not seen proof of that yet. And I've also seen people say confidently, no, because there's metal in it, you can't scan it. Well, and maybe the National Treasure cases aren't made out of metal. Maybe they're not aluminum. Maybe they're plastic. I genuinely don't know. So I try to tell you when I don't know something. So I don't know if I'm going to clip this off of a video, but if I did, thank you for watching. If you want to watch the rest of this rant and ramble, I'm going to talk for the next hour or longer about all this. Maybe I'll talk about Charlotte CAC, but this was recorded. This was live on YouTube on July 31st, 2024. And thank you for watching the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now I'm going to pivot. I'm going to open up. I don't know where I put it. I thought I had it open, but I'm going to open up the chat. And I'm going to see what everyone is talking about. I am here for the next hour plus, probably. I just wanted to go through. Appreciate you, Maki. Appreciate the 5 gifted subs. Hopefully that comes up on screen. I believe Java might have gifted as well. I might have lost some of the original chat. I only went for 39 minutes, so I don't think I did. Let me make sure. I thought, maybe I didn't see Java. Oh, Java's raid. I think I saw Java's raid notification. I was going to say I saw something come up from Java, so appreciate the raid, Java. With that, let me get a sip of my Coke. This live is not pre-recorded, Grimer. It's just an interesting thing, and I think you know, just memeing on me, but I've never taken... I've done the clips with Opus for shorts, but I might actually take the first 30 minutes of this, post it as a video Monday, and see how it does, but maybe I won't. Anyways, appreciate you, Maki, for the 5 gifted. I'm going to scroll back to the start, and I'm going to try to quickly get to live chat. If you have any questions, if you want to immediately pivot off of CT scanning and you want to talk about New Jersey recap 2 weeks ago, if you want to talk about, I'm flying on a plane to Charlotte tomorrow night. This time tomorrow, I will be in Charlotte. So if you want to talk about that, if you want to get off CT scanning, let me know, and I will pivot. But yeah, I'm gonna try to catch up with what people were talking about. Hi Ponga, bye Ponga. Black Rose, so many streams tonight. Dan already has his wife scanning packs after school. I have not yet scanned a pack. I have no immediate intent to do it. I think it would be really cool to like do it, but they're already putting all that information out there. I don't think I really need to do it as an educational, experiential exercise because it's already being done to enough extent. I'll just consume the content. So I have no intent to scan anything, but the idea of it, again, it's not inherently good or bad. It's interesting. It's really interesting. That's why I'm talking about it. That's why a lot of people are talking about it. Here we go. So, should I sell my vintage loose packs? Asking for a friend. I have some loose lights. Lights are not really affected. Maybe someday they'll be able to scan the beta packs for beta lotuses. Maybe they'll be able to tell just by the ink. Maybe they'll get that resolution. Maybe they'll get that power. But whether your non-hollow is a Jolteon or Clefable non-hollow, like, does it make that much of a difference? Probably to some extent, but how much? I'm not panic selling my loose vintage sealed. It doesn't amount to much as far as like a percentage of my total inventory value. So I'm selling some in the coming days and weeks and months, as I would have anyways. I'm not, but I am stopping buying that stuff. I'm stopping buying heavy packs, sealed boxes. So that's an immediate effect that it's had on my business. How's it going, Brody? Booster Boys. Are Stein scannable? You would probably find tons of imperfections in Stein production if you were to scan them. Calamity. Deposition starts now. 65 to 75 per pack scan. That's pretty cheap. You can scan the hits out of a $200,000 booster box. You can scan a base first box. You can scan all the hits out of it for less than $1,000. That is cheap as hell. You can scan a $20,000, $30,000 sealed case of 2020, whatever year had certain prospect rookies, whatever, that maybe will Hall of Fame someday. You can scan 5 and 6 figure product for only 65 to 75 a pack or box, whatever. It's only going to go down. So, like, I already commented on that a bunch. A lot of us are terminally online for sure. Scanner talk. James is here for it. Perfect. It's bedtime. I was struggling to fall asleep. Don't be too. I'll try not to be too loud to wake up Kai. I should have successfully put him to sleep in this amount of time. Beta is indeed already mappable. So loose packs are searchable with a flashlight, but we can't scan them. Someday we might be able to, though. Or just a better flashlight. They can flashlight through a whole box. We'll see. Don't bring the world shape into this. That's when I was ranting on the flat earther. It's obviously a cube. Wake up. Dan calculating hit rates in 1999. Pretty gross. A heavier weight would weigh more. I have no idea what words I said. I probably said some very silly things amongst my 40 minutes of ranting. It's inevitable. And another thing that I didn't talk too much about, but how long has this been going on? I didn't really talk about it in the video. How long has it been going on? I've not been doing it. Some amount of people may have been. More likely in sports. That one guy on Instagram a month ago said, hey, people have been doing this in sports. People have been doing this, looking for logo men, looking for triple logo men. How valid is that? I have no idea. But where am I supposed to buy base heavy packs at Chicago Collecticon now? Maybe they'll be cheaper at loose packs. Maybe they'll be cheaper at Pokemon Network. I would call those two trusted businesses. I would never question one of their unweighed packs. If you go to their booth and they tell you it's unweighed, unscanned, untampered, I would trust that. I'm not a consumer. I used to be. I went to Vegas with Nick. We spent 10 grand each buying unweighed base first, base unlimited, base shadowless packs. And yeah, so I used to be a consumer for that gamble. I am that degenerate that this hobby is built upon. But I'm trying to be better. I'm recovering and I'm trying to be better. So I'm not a consumer of it, but there will probably be people selling them. Will they be selling them cheaper? Panic selling them cheaper? Maybe. I don't know. But Dan scanned my 96 base deck and knew they were all OC. Oh man. Let's see. The only positive I can imagine is we can verify authenticity now. Can we? We can verify there's a Charizard in there. Do we know that it wasn't seeded in there? Do we know that it wasn't a resealed box? A lot of questions still. A lot of questions. Not even entirely, like, not even resealing the pack. I mean, you could scan 3 base set boxes. You could find, like, okay, this one has 2 Charizards. I want to leave that. This one has 2, like, this one has 1 Charizard. I want to open that one. Swap the Charizard pack for a Poliwrath pack, reseal the box. Now it's got 35 true original packs to the box. Only 1 has been swapped, but it's the one. That's probably not very profitable though, because like you spent $1,000 scanning packs for finding that 1 Charizard pack that's probably worth $1,000. Charizard in it, you open it up, you're probably gonna get $1,000 in the PSA 9. Interesting. I don't know. What's it all gonna do? Calling Dan a content creator is very generous. Did I call myself a content creator? I don't know if I did. This is just the flavor of the week, flavor of the month, but I think this one will stick a little bit better than some of them. Yeah, and this is a very, like, people who own these, some of them, like, it's not like you need to go spend 50 grand or 500 grand. There are tens of thousands of businesses that owns these, or there are hundreds or thousands of businesses that own tens of thousands of these things. There are tens of thousands of people qualified to utilize these things, and they're being used every day. There are probably thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of CT scans being done daily. For some medical worker, for some industrial worker, to bring some things in their pockets and start scanning things on off time, break time, lunch time, overnight, whatever. These things could already be happening as we speak. They could have been happening for the past 2 decades. Who knows? I'm only 24 minutes behind. I'm gonna try to get caught up on it, but we must lobby to make it a felony offense. Like, it is a thing that's happening. It's not going away. It is a thing that's happening. It isn't good or bad. It just is. We got to deal with this new reality we live in. Redemption codes. Read the redemption code. Like, how are you going to hide it? One thing that I was getting at too that I forgot to fully elaborate on. If scratch offs are not CT scannable, which presumably they shouldn't be, right? Because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. How many gas station clerks have been scanning the whole CT scanning the whole roll of $20 scratchers and finding the $10,000 hits and the 10,000 for life and blah blah blah, and making sure their buddy, okay, the 69th one within this roll is 10,000 a week for life. I'm gonna call up cousin Vinny and make sure that he's the one that comes and buys it. I doubt that that's a thing, but why don't we take, I looked it up online. Apparently the scratch off stuff, the stuff that you scratch off with a quarter when you're doing a scratch off ticket, it's like latex or something. Like it's not anything crazy. I would think that would be X-ray penetrable, but like, is the ink that they're using where you can't read it? Like, obviously we're CT scanning through and finding the foil. If a beta lotus in it isn't scannable because it can't make out the ink, presumably the ink that tells you won 10,000 a week for life wouldn't be scannable either. These are all just ramblings of a madman. These are all just the post video live stream rantings and ramblings. But why don't we just, hey, Pokemon, you got to start making all your Moonbreons a scratch off. You got to start, presumably it's the fact that it's not metal under there. Presumably it's the fact that it's just a small amount of ink covered by latex. You can't really discern the two. Maybe it's a latex based ink. I have no idea. This is me just making things up again. Where I used to work, I did use personally an electron microscope. I didn't have the thought to bring any packs in to try to do any of that kind of stuff, but interesting that Dan chose Poliwrath as the first Pokemon he mentioned. But yeah, there are people who are bringing packs in their pockets to go try these things in their places of work. Yeah, reseal Zard packs with PSA 8s. It's a scary world we live in. Yeah, and I pulled a Zard live on stream. It's I did not know that was a Charizard. That was not resealed. That was not scanned. That was a legitimate box that had a 1 out of 15 is not very rare. Like 1 out of 15 is not that out of the question. He used his robot CT scanner vision eyes. I wish I had those. How far back in time CT box scanning was hidden option in the back room of some box breakers? I talked about it before. We have no idea. Some people might have an idea. Who knows? The reason he hasn't showed the other side of the room he's in, there's a CT scanner behind the camera. Oh, man. Let's see. Yeah, big sports for sure. Yeah, I mean, if BBCE, one thing, the most scared individual in the entire industry, in my opinion, should be BBCE. I forget what his name is, but the guy that owns BBCE, his name might come to me. He was just opened up to 8 figures, if not 9 figures worth of liability. He had that one case, we all got duped, agreed, a $2 million case. $2 million is 7 figures. Clearly, one case led him to $2 million of risk exposure, and that one went negatively. If that one, and I haven't seen it yet, but a lot of people have been asking, is a case scannable? If a box is scannable, anyone who knows the configuration of a case, it's just 6 boxes in succession. It's not like you have to scan from one end of the box to the other. You're not scanning through 6 times as many cards, because you can scan this way through one individual box, 2 more pieces of cardboard. Like, what are we talking about? In my opinion, speculation, I haven't confirmed it, but hell yeah, a case is scannable if a box is, because it's only 2 additional 1/4-inch pieces of cardboard. What are we talking about? Like, you could probably put, it's all going to be about how big of, whatever they call it, how big of a functional zone the CT scanner has. But if you have a CT scanner that can put a human in, I mean, that's like 4 booster box cases sealed and stacked together. You can probably scan 4 booster box cases at a time. Maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe that's taking too much of a leap, but it doesn't feel like that much of a leap. So, but BBCE, how many dollars worth of product have they authenticated and wrapped? All those things can be CT scanned through the wrapping. And if you've got a base first box that was wrapped by them and you scan it and you don't see a single holo card in there, now you put all that on a video, you put all that on camera, you tag BBCE, you put it, like, you open it up and you show that it was 36 light packs within a base set first edition box, or 36 Garbage Pail Kids packs, or G.I. Joe packs. Like, man, his name is right at the tip of my tongue. But BBCE, he is opened up to a lot of risk and liability right now. And I would be very afraid if I were Steve Hart. Steve Hart, I believe, is his name. He opened the doors on October 1st, 1990. And I don't know if that was just buying and selling. I don't know how long he's been wrapping. But, like, I would be very afraid if I was Steve Hart at the amount of things that I've wrapped and authenticated that now people can actually, without opening it, they can verify to something, like maybe not the alpha boxes, maybe not the 86 Fleer, because that's all non-holo, but that stuff might come. The non-holo reading might come. I'd be very afraid if I was him. CT will distinguish G.I. Joe from base set Pokemon. I scanned my wallet and it was empty. What gives? I think I'm nearing being caught up. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to leave them. I see Brad picking on me in the live chat. I'm only 24 minutes behind. He's so proud of himself. I ranted for 30 minutes and I was only 24 minutes behind. No, I'm only 15 minutes behind, so I'm catching up. Let's see. Kai was an unfortunate recipient of a Maki gifted sub. He did not want to support me, but now he is forced into supporting me. I believe there is a way to turn off the ability to receive gifts, though I think Kai will enjoy his emojis. Enjoy your emojis, Kai, and thank Maki. Be gracious. Appreciate you again, Maki. What's your order on Saturday night? So Saturday night, I will be partaking in a steak dinner at Charlotte CAC. I think there's 2 aged options. I believe No, I think there's only one aged option. The aged New York strip bone in, some kind of encrusted cheese, whatever, right down my alley. There's also, I believe it's a ribeye, a bone-in ribeye with an aged vinaigrette sauce. It's gonna be one of those two. I'll probably go with the New York strip because it's dry aged. I can make a great ribeye at home, non-aged. I cannot make an aged ribeye nor New York strip at home. I don't have the facilities to age steaks, so I will probably get the aged option because I like getting things that I can't do well at home. Do you see yourself buying it all at Collecticon? Unlikely. I might buy things that come to me 70-80%, whatever. I might take trade, but I don't know. Are your vintage boxes cooked? Again, the EV on all those boxes is inherently negative to begin with. Does the fact that you know there's one Charizard in it make the value go up? On average, they have 0.8 in them. Does the fact that it doesn't have one go down a lot? If a base set box is 14 grand, will one without a Charizard really go down to 10 grand? I wouldn't think so. Maybe one without would be 12 grand and one with would be 15 or 16 grand. That is fairly large in raw dollar value, but percentage wise, like, I don't know. It all leads to interesting conversations. Do you think the scanner will cause single slabs to go up now the sealed has more risk to it? Some of these things, there's just so many layers of unknowns that I hear people confidently speculate on. Oh yeah, absolutely. I could make a reasonably coherent argument for singles going down, and I could make a reasonably, I think a more reasonable one for a more reasonable one for them going down, but a reasonable one for them going up. For them going down, it's like, well, if you have a base set Charizard, if you have a Moonbreon box, you're going to open it, you're going to get that hit. You probably won't because you're going to lose money still, but like theoretically, people might be more prone to opening those, ripping those, selling it on a live stream, selling it to someone who wants to open a Charizard, and then more of them get graded and more slabs are out there. Pop goes up, price goes down. More boxes get ripped, so the price of sealed actually goes up. Because more people chase that thing that they now just scanned. They know the Rayquaza Gold Star's in there. So one of the few hundred remaining or a couple thousand remaining EXD Oxys box gets ripped to get the Rayquaza Gold Star in there. But that's part of my point. Like, I don't think you rip a Rayquaza. You don't rip. Even if you know there's an EXD Oxys Gold Star Rayquaza in your box, you don't rip that box. That collectible is so, like, you verify that your collectible is genuine, and that adds value to your box. I think barring the whole reseal thing, which is that pesky little annoyance, but I would rather buy a CT scanned EXD Oxys box if I were, like, I'm not that consumer, so I'm already putting myself in the shoes of someone I'm not, but I would rather buy one that was guaranteed genuine because we scanned the 12 holos, and I would rather buy one than buy one that that wasn't able to be authenticated at all, and I might just lose all my money. Yeah, so it's an interesting thing. I'm not the consumer for that regardless, so it's always interesting to hear people's commentary like, I'm never buying a WotC box again. Well, you never bought one before, so you never bought one before. You were never going to buy one in any universe whatsoever, but now you're like, I need to stay out loud that I'm never going to buy one again. I actually used to buy them. I probably cracked, in my 10 years in the hobby, 52... I cracked one of every box. So I cracked an EXD Oxys box. I cracked Skyridge box. I would not enter the hobby, one, because of the prices. Two, because of the risk of the things being scanned. Maybe they were all scanned before. I don't know. But I used to actually buy boxes. I probably cracked... In the past year, I probably cracked 5 to 10 WotC boxes. I'm not cracking 5 to 10 in the next year. I might crack 0 ever again because this stuff matters. This stuff has an effect. If anything, I should do it now. I should do it quickly. I was already borderline because the EV on them was not that great. The risk was kind of high. The price was kind of high. The margins were thin already. And the trust and the things I brought up before. Now all of that's just that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I was already leaning towards, like, not doing as much vintage sealed, vintage heavies. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, though. Might be a dumb question, but do you think that prices will hold for people that are very trusted sellers If someone like Rusty said that he didn't scan the packs, I would trust him and pay a premium. Did the person Rusty bought from scan them though? I would trust Rusty, and I have trusted Rusty with a lot of product, with a lot, like, yeah, I do trust, and I would always trust Rusty fully. But like, Rusty only has a finite amount of boxes, and any box Rusty acquires in the future, there's going to be a question. There's some amount of a question on our minds for the boxes he already has. Were those bought from some bad actor that's been doing this for months or years? So even a Rusty, even a Loose Packs, even what I talked about earlier, even Pokemon Network, even if those guys are trusted, they don't have pallets of these things. Those guys don't. Some people might, but those guys don't. And it coming from that WotC distributor's pallet to get to them, usually a person or two touches it. Do we know all them? Do we trust all them? Like, a lot of this stuff gets thrown into question. So like, personally, I'm not a consumer for that stuff anyways. I would trust Rusty wholeheartedly. I would trust a lot of these people fully. But do I trust their source? I don't know. It's kind of scary, like, truly. For that small 1%, 1 to 5% of the hobby that interacts with that stuff, it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. Talking about Steins again. This is where you sub your whole collection to you. Yeah, some amount of people might, like, I'm not advocating for like making emotional, I started out this live stream, calm, cool, collected, logic, reason, all that stuff. Emotional decisions are generally bad decisions. But if I did, so here's a good conversation. I don't have, like, I have 3 art sets of jungle lights here. I have 10 medium weight jungle packs. Some are hollow, some aren't. I don't really know because they're tough to weigh. They would be easy to scan, but I'm not going to. If I did have, so Dan, what if you did have $250,000 in WotC sealed? What would you do? It's tough because part of my first question to you, if you were to hit me with that hypothetical, my first question would be, well, what was my plan to begin with? If my plan was to hold for 20 plus years, I would probably continue that plan because I know likely I got them from good sources. I trust that they weren't scanned at the time. If I had stuff today in-house that I had intended to keep for a long time, I'd probably still intend to keep for a long time. As long as it wasn't a massive amount of money to me, yada, 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 all that stuff. If I intended to sell stuff in the next 3 to 6 months, 3 to 6 years even, I might expedite that. So if I had stuff that I knew I was going to be selling 3 to 6 months, 3 to 6 years, 5, 10, 15 years, I might expedite selling that stuff on the short term because I know that I didn't CT scan it. I'm quite confident the people that got it to me didn't CT scan it. The market's not going to know. The broad market's not going to know about all this. And if anyone were to ask, I would know that I didn't do it. I would feel comfortable selling my own product. Again, I don't have any heavies left. I just got lucky by that fact. But I would feel comfortable if I had 12 base heavies that I just cracked last week. I would feel comfortable going to a convention, selling heavy packs. And if anyone inquired, did you CT scan these? I would say, no, I cracked this on this date with intent to sell at this convention. Trust me or don't trust me, like, buy them or don't buy them, you don't have to, but I did not, like, on my word, on my name, on my brand, all that stuff. So what I would do if I had the boxes would depend highly on what was my plan to begin with, having all that stuff. Like, most people that have $250,000, a million, 100,000, 50,000, whatever it is, most people that have some amount of product have an idea what they're doing in the next 6 months, 6 years, 20 years with it. So depending on what my goal plan was, it would be a different answer. Let me continue on. This must be when I was talking about scanning scratch off tickets. Booster box grading. Yeah, booster box grading, and you get a full report on pack. Pack 3 has your Rayquaza, Altart. Pack 6 has your Garbodor. Pack, yeah, like you get a full printout of like where all the hits are and what they are. BBCE gives no guarantee, I don't think. even though like whether or not they give a financial guarantee, I'm not sure. I would lean towards the fact that they don't. They still have 8 figures worth of potentially angry customers out there. Like all of his business could crumble if in the next 6 months, and again, like an 86, most of his stuff I think is probably disproportionately sports. Most of it is probably more vintage sports. So as of today, as far as I'm aware of the technology that exists today, most of his stuff is probably safe, given that they can't read the ink. But is that coming next week? Is that coming next month? Is that coming next year? Like the amount of technology, the amount of power, the amount of stuff. Look at how greasy my fingerprints are on my phone. I gotta stop showing the front of it. I gotta just show the back of it. How much technology is packed into this device, and to think that we can't read and discern through a little bit of cardboard what the ink on a card might say relative to another one. Like, it wouldn't be the craziest thing ever in this crazy world of technology we live in. Very, very... CT scanners become a thing. Dan no longer mentions that he's an engineer. All interesting conversations, all interesting topics, rooted in the actual reality I'm living in. I've only made I wouldn't call it a massive adjustment. Maybe in a typical year, say last year I cracked 5 WotC boxes. That's like 50 grand worth of business. I guess that's kind of a lot. Say I did 2 million last year gross across all platforms. 50K would be 5% of $1 million, so it would be 2.5% of 2 million, right? So in the past 12 months, approximately 2.5% of my gross sales, not my net, not my whatever, 2.5% of my gross sales just became affected by this. I will no longer be doing that $50-ish thousand worth of business. Not a massive thing to me, but some people, that's 80% of their business. Some people, that's 80% of their investment portfolio. And I definitely feel for those people to some extent. And yeah, pending what their broader situations are, pending what their other thoughts are, like I wouldn't be able to advise unless I knew a lot more information. Dan, why are you drinking soda? My New Year's resolution is health. I have been working nights this week. I'm a bit sleepy. I do need a little bit of caffeine boost to keep me up through this live stream. My son just joined Cub Scouts. I was a Cub Scout when I was younger. I did Boy Scouts for a couple years, but Pinewood Derby races, all that good stuff. He had a Boy Scout camp this week. I went as a parent volunteer, whatever. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So the last 3 days, I've been at that camp from like 9 till 4, and I've been working nights. In this short week, between New Jersey Collecticon, between Charlotte Collecticon, it has been busy week. Not like a crazy lack of sleep, but a little bit. Going into a weekend where I'm really gonna lack sleep, so I'm partaking in a bad behavior because I need some caffeine and enjoy Coke. But I did run. You probably got to run 2 miles to burn off 1 Coca-Cola. I don't know how the math works out on that, but I have been running a few mornings here and there. I probably will run tomorrow morning because I'm not going to do it in Charlotte. Maybe I'll play a little bit of basketball at Rusty's. 96 degrees it's going to be while we're at Rusty's. Maybe I won't play much basketball. I sweat like a pig. Like, if I wanted to play basketball seriously at Rusty's, I would have to bring a change of clothes and I would have to ask to use his shower. Because I will just be... I don't want to do that to Java in his car, riding in his car after sweating like that. So... the go-karts, you get that wind in your lack of hair, you cool down a little bit. I don't know how much basketball I'll be playing seriously, so I gotta run tomorrow morning to make up for it. But this will destroy the secondary market long-term. Pokemon and all other TCGs will eventually be forced to address this. There is some percentage. What percent would I allocate to the fact that this like materially breaks the trust in the industry, materially affects the primary consumer? The primary consumer buys packs at Walmart and Target and the local game store and from PokemonCenter.com. If the primary consumer is materially affected by this news, like I don't think their product will be touched, but if they think it's being done, there's some reality, there's some possible like universe where CT scanning gets down to $5 a pack, $2 a pack. I don't think that will be the case. Say it got down to $2 to $5 a pack. Modern product will be like, they will be worried about their primary consumer. I don't think we'll get there. I don't think it'll get that cheap. But like, there are multiple avenues to where if the bottom line is affected, they will address it. They have to. They're a business. So I would lean towards no. I would lean towards no within 5 years, within 10 years even. How heavily am I leaning that way? How confidently? Will I die on that hill? No. I do have multi 6 figures in ultra modern sealed. I don't have 5 figures, let alone 6 figures. I don't have that in vintage. I don't have that in mid-era. I have that in modern. I have that in, I have a little bit of Sun and Moon cases. I have a fair bit of Sword and Shield cases. I have a significant amount of Scarlet and Violet cases, and I plan on getting more and more. Will that stuff ever be affected? I'm leaning towards no. I'm leaning towards no on that in a material way, but that might change over time. That might develop in the coming weeks and months and years, and I'm saying all this on July 31st, 2024. July 31st, 2025. Hell, August 31st, 2024. I might have vastly different opinions, and I'll be here talking about it if you want to talk about it. So it'll be interesting. But I attribute the risk that this fundamentally shakes the consumer to the core, to where Pokemon actually has to do a graphite, and I don't know if that's actually a thing that would prevent it. So some kind of a tamper-proof seal around the box that would be evident if it was introduced to X-rays, or some kind of an X-ray impenetrable wrapping. If Pokemon were to have to go to that route, I think less than a 5% chance that is going to happen in the next 5 years, honestly. Less than 5% is not zero. You need to have that in your calculus. If you are an investor, if you are a speculator, if you're a business, it needs to be in the back of your mind to some extent that is a risk. There is a reality where that could happen. So factor that in. Factor that into your bear case. Factor certain things into your bull case. Do the math. Place your bets. Place your bets. I have it here. So I gotta show it once. What's a live stream if I don't show my buckets? I have my tax buckets full. I have some amount spilling over into the Pokemon buckets, and this is making me change in stopping to buy vintage boxes. This is not making me stop buy from my distributor. This is not making me insta-sell all my Sun and Moon cases, all my Sword and Shield cases, all my Scarlet Violet cases. I'm not changing anything today with that. If I do, you'll know. Transparency, I'll let you all know. But Shane says this can also be looked at in a positive notion. If you can tell that boxes have hits, you can sell for a premium with proof via selling a non-hit box for the sealed collection. Yeah, like you could buy the same way that I used to sell. I used to sell light packs. I still sell light packs. I used to sell heavy packs. Some people would want the light pack to have a cheaper option to get that collectible in their collection. So say that you are a theoretical sealed box collector. You want one of every box in your collection. Maybe, and I could be wrong here, but maybe the EX Deoxys box is 40 grand today. Maybe one without a Rayquaza guaranteed is only 35. Maybe one with a Rayquaza is 50. So like, you might be able to get a $5,000 discount to today's market by getting one that you know doesn't have a Rayquaza. Maybe your lifelong goal in the hobby is to open. Like maybe you're a Polyrath collector, and heavies used to be $700. Heavies were $700. Maybe you'll be able to buy a Polyrath heavy for $450 or for $400 or for $350. Like what should a Polyrath heavy go for? Maybe you'll be able to, like, there are other interesting conversations that could be had where, like, someone who wants a sealed, known, good box, risk of reseal is always there, but, like, taking that into account, I want a base box for my collection forever. I don't want to pay 14 grand, but paying 12 grand, I'm saving $2,000 and I'm not getting a Charizard. I'm never opening it anyways. That's a benefit to those people. Like, there are some silver linings, there are some benefits. The information is not inherently good or bad. There are pros and cons. There are various effects to different kinds of people depending on how you interact in the space. But it's all a really interesting conversation. Like, Shane, those are considerations I haven't fully had. Very interesting to talk about. Let's see. I feel bad for Dan's dad, palette value. I don't think it will have major effects on Scarlet and Violet Sword and Shield era. Will it though in 5 or 10 years? Will it cap? Will it affect their upside? Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. I addressed this earlier within the video portion of the live stream. I addressed this recently. A lot of stuff is inherently extremely negative EV. Like, there are boxes that are 10, 20 grand. The EV of opening them might be 5 grand. So some of those EX era boxes, like EX, I'm trying to think of EX Unseen Forces. It is an amazing representation of this, because I, collector boy Dan, one of my first goals getting back into the hobby was opening one of every box. EX Unseen Forces is a very scarce box. EX Unseen Forces, the 3 major hits, Entei, Raikou, Suicune, tainted by the release of that whole thing that went on, the video, the thousands and thousands of each, all being released onto the market. You still see the effects of it today, because you go to a convention, PSA 9, PSA 10, Entei, Raikou, Suicune, more plentiful than any other gold star. But I had to open that box to check off the box, to do that part of my goal. I had to open the box with the tainted gold stars that were not worth much. That box was very negative EV. I think at the time that I opened it, it was probably $1,300, and the gold stars raw were like $50 each or something. So even if you hit them, you were getting demolished. But anyways, yeah, like I don't know what EX Unseen Forces goes for right now, but I would speculate, given the effect of the market on those gold star legendary beasts, I would think that the EV on that one is quite poor. And now that it's scannable, it's like, oh yeah, I just confirmed that there's no gold stars. Even if there was one, it was gonna be a gold star beast that is not worth a ton. But yeah, there is a Raikou. Oh great, I can open it and I can lose 10 grand right now. I can open it and I can lose 12 grand right now. Like, what are we talking about? These things are still gonna have some amount of value. Do you think cards like the Gengar VMAX Alt Art will continue to climb or find a new floor? That would be pure speculation by me. I think long term, I think a lot of these things will just fall out of the limelight. I think a lot of them will be down and to the right in inflation adjusted terms. Maybe the number will be bigger due to inflation, yada yada yada. But I think a lot of these things are fairly inflated. I think the market's fairly high. I think there will be ebbs and flows. I'm just navigating the market, all the things that I say. But I'm not investing in like Alt Art, Raw, Alt Art, PSA 10, any of those cards. I buy them, I sell them. I buy them at a percentage, I sell them at the full percentage. Is it time to sell Evolving Skies? Opportunity cost. What's your opportunity cost? I keep hearing people say this could make sealed go up because more will be opened, but likely less would be opened because the scanning prevents opening multiple boxes to get the hit. Now you only need one. Yeah, I mean, again, it's like if you were intent on I have to open a gold star from EX Deoxys. You used to have to just rip a box with a 50% chance of getting one. Now you can scan a box and you either know it has one or it doesn't have one. If it doesn't have one, now you just save yourself opening a box that you otherwise would have. So yeah, you might scan 6 boxes to find the Latios Gold Star that you needed to hit because it was your favorite childhood card and it's the best artwork in the hobby and yada yada, whatever. There are logical arguments as to why more sealed will be open, and there are logical arguments as to why less will be open. I truly don't know which one will be true, but I could reasonably debate either side. So you're going to see a lot of confidence. You're going to hear a lot of confidence out there by people that have no idea what they're talking about. They like, I get painted as Dan on the fan stand, could go up, could go down, could open more, could open less. That's the answer though. People will talk with confidence when they truly have no idea. That's the fact of the matter. It's a lot more boring. It's a lot less marketable to say, I don't know, but that is the honest answer. Percentage wise, if I had to allocate a percentage to like, okay, what percent do you think, like, do you lean more towards more will be opened or less will be opened? I lean more towards less. I lean more towards less will be opened because more consumers will be scared to break it. I lean more towards prices falling slightly, which again, as I say it, it's like I'm gonna push back on myself the other way if the prices fall on it because breakers can't break it at a premium because people are worried that it's CT scanned, well, if the price goes down, more people will open it. So it's this interesting equilibrium. And if the price does go down, well, then more will be open. So we'll be back to that whole scenario. Like, no one knows. No one really knows. It's a very interesting conversation, but all I can do is share with you what I think and why I think that. I think slightly less will be opened than otherwise would have been without this information, but not significant. I don't think, like, I wouldn't have any drastic reaction to this immediately because there are just too many unknowns. Unless I had product that I intended to sell in the short term already, I would expedite that personally. That's just me though, and that's why. Sell Involving Skies, buy Scarlet Violet base set packs. Mr. Pipton says, I would think the scanner would make sealed less sought after because of the risk of it being scanned. As a collector, I would just rather buy the card now for peace of mind. Sealed collectors, though, want the sealed product. I don't think that will change. I think a lot of people will still want the sealed product. If this all gets shaken to its core, yeah, like there's a chance that people just hold. Sealed vintage already has some amount of a trust issue. Sealed vintage already has weighing, mapping, resealing, all these issues. This is just another one to add to the pile. Will this be, like it was for me, will this be the straw that broke the camel's back for a large portion of collectors? Will there be a lot of EX Deoxys box going for sale from collections? A lot. Could be 10. Like, I don't know how many EX Deoxys boxes were broken or sold over the past year. Could only be like 20. Could be like 20 boxes were transacted / broken. If 20 come up in the next 3 months because of this news, that could have major effects on, and that's like one box, one part of one market, but things could move. I just don't really know. Scoutmaster Dan. What was it? Family partner, family, like a chaperone basically. But it was funny because like I went and I ended up almost being like a leader to some extent because there were not many other family partner, family participant people there, and there were a lot of young kids, and we went fishing this morning. Imagine a line of 25 to 10-year-olds fishing, and the way that we did it, we have like 100 foot of beach frontage. Each kid have like 5 feet of space. Imagine, like I'm someone, it's been over a decade. I do the whole Mexican fisherman, that whole thing that I talk about. I haven't fished much in the past decade. If you try to cast a pole out and you only have a 5 foot wide box to land in, and the wind is blowing and everyone's bobbers are moving together, and each kid only has a 5 to 10 foot window that they have to land their bobber within. That was a nightmare mess of detangling bobbers and fishing lines and hooks, and man, it was fun. It was fun, but it was a lot of work too. It was a lot of work. Let's see. I low bid on a Fanatics auction and was shocked by a hefty buyer's premium, fees and taxes. It was well over 20%. Luckily, the auction price went up quickly and I didn't bid again. They show you that before you bid though. Like if you're going to bid 100, it's going to be 120 because it's a 20% buyer's premium. They demonstrate that before you bid. I wish it wasn't a thing. I'm not saying that I like buyer's premium. I really don't like it. I wish they just did a seller's fee model as eBay does, but they unfortunately don't. So yeah, I think Fanatics will charge sales tax too, as eBay will, if you are in a state where they have to collect and remit. So pay attention to your bidding when you go to bid. Like that is a thing. Where can I buy Japanese booster boxes from a trusted source at a reasonable price? Retrospecs on Instagram. Hit them up if you're talking modern. If you're talking vintage, I do have a Japanese jungle box, not scanned, no issues going on. I had this box a month ago from my consigner. They wanted to run it in August, so starting tomorrow, I think, starting on August 1st, ending on August 11th, there will be a Japanese jungle booster box for sale on Fanatics Collect, and it will be within the Catch 'em All Collectibles filtered feature collection. Thank you, Weatherman Dan. I will change what I packed. Yeah, I mean, when I looked, it looked like clear skies. It looked like the overnight lows were like 70s, which I wish that was our midday highs and our overnight lows were like 50. but it looks like, yeah, Charlotte at least. Charlotte is showing Friday 96, partly cloudy, low of 75. By noon, it will be 91. By 6 p.m., by 7 p.m., it'll be 91 again. 6 p.m., 7 p.m., it'll be 91 again. So it'll be 91 between noon and 91 and up between noon and 7 p.m. So that is hot. That is hot. Just take the shirt off and you're chilling. That doesn't cover 96. No. I've never considered punching one of my customers. I do not condone violence. The amount of times that I had to say personal space, hands off, no pushing, punching, teasing, reinforced why I don't want to be a teacher. Could never be a teacher, more appropriately. The little bit of interaction. My wife actually got, she's probably listening right now. She'll probably text me as I say this, but she was a little, yeah, she's texting me right now. Anyways, she will enjoy the fact, she will get a giggle right now as I say that I could never be a teacher. I'm not cut out for it. And she got a little bit of a giggle out of some of the interactions that I detailed to her of my day. Like, this kid was doing that, trying to, yeah. She definitely got a laugh out of it. She actually knew some of the kids too, because she's a teacher in a district that is covered by the region that this Boy Scout camp was held within. So some amount of her students, former students, some amount of, yeah, some of the stories that I had with the names, it's like, oh, was this his last name? Does he look like this? She knew some of the exact kids that I was dealing with, so it was funny. Danny Buckets. I'm not sure, and I can't be certain of this, but there's a chance that, oh, that's the wrong thing. There's a chance that when Danny Phantom says "holy buckets," he might have originally came up with that catchphrase when he saw my buckets. I'm not sure. I've heard the rumor. I couldn't be certain. This image that I showed was actually gradededge.com. Gradededge.com is a new website that is currently Pokenomics Patreon exclusive, but it kind of does what I did, where I did the expected value, how to make $100,000 a year in Pokemon, just sell X amount of celebrations Charizard, here's the math, here's the EV. That website will do all that for you. I'll talk about that more in the future, but I just want to let people know what I accidentally flashed there. I used that because I showed it in Patreon on Tuesday. Last night we had our Patreon meeting, so I don't need to go back. I don't need to hide it. I was worried myself as I showed it. I'm like, ooh, what is this? Do I need to go edit that out? But I will talk about that more in the future. Let me continue on, try to get caught up with live. Yeah, the primary consumer for Pokemon, the consumers that put money in Pokemon's pockets directly, they care about the secondary market to some extent. They monitor it to some extent for the 6 month to a few year old product. They look at like, oh, people didn't really seem to like Amazing Rares. People really liked Altars. People like, they pay attention to the secondary market product. Sometimes people say they don't know about it, they don't care about it. They absolutely do, to some extent. To what extent, who knows? But they don't care much about 25-year-old product. That wasn't even the Pokemon Company International. That was Wati, right? But they do care about it to an extent. They do monitor it to an extent. Secondary, tertiary sales, they don't get direct money from, but they do have an effect. And if the primary consumer is affected, if the bottom line is affected, they will take action. I don't think it will be the case though. Less than a 5% chance within 5 years. Do you think sealed tins will block the CT scans? I talked about this earlier. I'm not sure. I would lean towards no, because I think the flawless National Treasures, whatever the product is that has the triple logo men in it, I think those are like aluminum cases that have like 10 cards in a pack. Those can be scanned. We've already seen it. Yeah, will there ever be an automated assembly line? Like, who knows? Who knows? I don't know how quickly a CT scan can be done. I don't know how quickly you could automate it. How I'm not really sure. I think the hype for sealed has overall been nerfed. It might have downstream effects on modern growth in the near future, even if the reality is that it's not financially scannable. Yeah, like all speculation on what the short, medium, long-term effects are. More confidence in the short term. I have more confidence speculating on the fact that this weekend in Charlotte, the average Collecticon consumer will not have watched those videos. 90+% of people, like 99% of people consuming Pokemon will not have seen it. Disproportionately, people that are so engaged that they go to an in-person convention, I would think they would be slightly more likely to have been one to watch this, to watch J-Love's video, to watch the other videos. I would think they're more likely, but still, the vast majority of people at Collecticon on the ground floor will not have heard about all this stuff. I think Chicago, slightly more will have heard about it. Chicago next year, 2 years, 5, like more time, more will know. Some people still don't know weighing is a thing. Almost every con that I've sold heavy packs at, I've had people ask me like, what's heavy mean? How can you guarantee a holo? What does that even mean? I show them the scale. I weigh it heavy. I weigh it light. I tell them. Some people don't know that still. 10 years after, I remember having those arguments on E4. If people should do it, if it should be a bannable offense for E4. I was always on the side of put the information out there, let people know I'm going to sell heavies, I'm going to sell lights, I'm going to do the right thing with them. Will the next person? You can never know. But yeah, the knowledge that, the more people that know, the better. Knowledge is power. All this stuff I've said 10 times already. Let's see. The only box I scan is crunch berries. Definitely, almost probably not CT scanning, but like in a lot of production facilities, like they probably just have electromagnets. They probably have maybe they do have x-rays, but a lot of these food production facilities, a lot of just general commercial products will have some kind of quality assurance. They'll have some QA departments. They'll have some QA equipment to ensure that no bad things, no non-edible things will be going into their product. Like a lot of that's more just probably metal detectors. It's probably not x-ray scanners, but there might be, I don't know what the application is. There might already be an industry where someone just has in their building a conveyor belt that would have the rapid response time to scan a booster box within 30 seconds. Probably doesn't exist, but it could. I genuinely don't know. I have no idea. There could be some industrial commercial application where they're putting some widget on a conveyor belt and they're getting scans that would allow them post like AI, some kind of computer program that you teach it, you tell it, you show it what a Charizard looks like, a Moonbreon looks like, a Rayquaza Gold Star looks like. They might be able to, that could be a thing. That could be a thing within 6 months. I had no idea whatsoever. That could be a thing though. And if you could just have a conveyor belt that you send cases through, and it's like box number 7 has a Moonbreon, and box number 16 has a Moonbreon, and box number 32 has a Moonbreon, and box number 33 has one too, back-to-back boxes. I don't think that will be the case, but like, again, the technology that's in this thing is insane. We went to the moon 45 years ago. Like, no, 45. I can't do math. We went to the moon 55 years ago, going on 60 years, right? 2029. You can't put it past it. And if that becomes the case, and people can just literally buy their allocation from distribution, and they can know that their palette of Twilight Masquerade has a Greninja in these 6 boxes, that does affect the primary consumer. You will have trusted businesses that aren't doing that. You will have yada, yada, yada. But like, if the incentive is there, if the financial incentive is there, bad actors will be taking advantage of it. Who knows? Who knows? Hopefully not. Hopefully that's like the less than a 1% chance, the most bearish, darkest, kills the Pokemon hobby. Like I've seen people saying that the Pokemon hobby will die. There's a percentage chance of that. There's a percentage chance that this is the beginning causes of that. If that were potentially a reality, that some, and I forget if I mentioned this earlier in my rant. People say that 50 grand is too much, 500 grand is too much. One guy did it for 1,500 bucks, a used CT scanner and buying some parts off the internet, whatever. If someone can do this for like 50 grand, that is not much money. 50 grand is not much money at scale, especially with sports, especially with other things. A very, I wouldn't call it ubiquitous, but a very common thing in this industry today is Roka. Roka is a $30,000, $25,000, $30,000 piece of equipment, primarily used for handling like 5-cent cards to 50-cent to $5 cards. Like, people aren't putting $300, $500, $1,000 cards in Rokas very frequently. Roka is a $30,000 piece of equipment that costs $3,000 a month to run, that generally handles $6 to $60 to $6, like 6 cents to 60 cents to $6 cards. That is a, not only is that a feasible business model, that is a lucrative business model for a lot of people that do it. So if you're dealing with $100 boxes, $1,000 boxes, $500, $1,000, $5,000 cases, $20,000 suitcase, flawless, immaculate sports cases, if 100 grand, a conveyor belt, CT scan, like, yeah, bad things could happen if the technology could be there. Could it? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, did we actually go to the moon though? Going back to the whole flat earth thing, the amount of power, the amount of knowledge, the amount of information we have at our fingertips, and some of the things that go on in our world today, the ignorance, it's scary. It's really scary. And when you are in the comments of a video that shows you that booster boxes are being scanned, and the comment is saying booster boxes will never be able to be scanned, like, what are we doing, folks? I'm gonna probably wrap up relatively soon. I should get to bed relatively soon. I'm still not 100% sure. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. Should I make my 30-minute rant to start this video, my video for Monday, or should I do a normal, regularly scheduled programming? I think I'm leaning towards doing it and then taking the video that I had Monday and just pushing that out a week or two. It's like how to use TCG Player to scan your cards. I think most people that watch my channel already know how to do that. It's my attempt, not at going viral. I know I won't do that. It's my attempt at reaching more. Some amount of people deep down the rabbit holes won't know of those things, so I'll help a few people. Of the 2,000 that watch, a few people will be tipped off from my community, from my viewership on it. But maybe it will push out. Maybe we'll get 3,000 views, 4,000 views, 5,000 views. That's viral for me. Maybe that will get some new eyes on the channel. And I just like talking about what I'm doing. So I recorded an 8-minute video. 8-minute video is unheard of for me. That will either go live Monday or it will be pushed out a couple weeks if I use the first 30 minutes of this as a video. Let me know if you think I should do that or not. Do you think CT scanning is the reason I only pull Piccolo from my score packs? Probably. DBZ score is probably the first thing that the CT scanners went for. I think sealed collectors are far outweighed by the gamblers in this hobby. Hard to say how much of a premium sealed will still have. Gambling is the foundational part to this hobby. Like, there's no way around that fact. They don't sell Moonbryons. They don't sell Charizards. They sell you a chance at getting them. And people pay it. And yeah, gambling is a core to the hobby. Let's see. Dan, I'm not giving you $10. Stop trying. That was when I did the Patreon plug, which I promise was actually by mistake. I'm going to delete the image right now from my OBS so I don't actually do it again. The only one I'm going to purposely show you are my buckets. Danny Phantom would probably say holy buckets if you were to see those. I'm sorry, Danny Phantom, if someone were to clip that and you were to somehow see that. I don't think you will, but I apologize if you do. What's the biggest spread gambling Dan would do on a coin flip? I made a joke. This hobby is so built on gambling. Shout out Bulbasaur. I love the videos. I love the fact that he does it because I'm a gambler. And I made a joke in Discord recently. I made a joke that I'm going to run a booth at a Collecticon where for $55, I will give you a chance to flip a coin. And if you call it correctly, you will win 100. I would literally just be the house. I'm not going to do this Collecticon. I'm not going to do this state of Illinois. I'm not going to do the state of North Carolina, state of New York. Please, gambling commissions, don't come after me. But how funny would it be? How long until someone does that? The amount of Bulbasaur coin flips, I've done it before. I've seen Bulbasaur do it multiple times every video. The trick to the coin flips, which I'm sure Dylan might tell you this too. make it so you like both numbers. So if I'm doing a coin flip, $1,000, if you win, it's 1,000. If I win it, you're paying me 1,100. If I make that deal, I probably like 1,000 and I like 1,100. I'm winning either way. I'm just winning more one way. That's kind of the trick to one. That's part of the trick. You like both outcomes. You just like one more. Another part is like 1,050 is probably more than I would have taken for it anyways. If someone just offered me 1,050 cash, say someone were to offer me 1,040 cash, I'd probably take it. So absolutely, I would do a coin flip that has an EV of 1,050. So yeah, I made the joke though. You would probably get a lot of people, a sad amount of people, if you literally just opened a casino in Collecticon. If you said, hey, I'll sell, I have a stack next to me of 151 non-house. If you said, I'm gonna sell this card to you for, how would you be able to do it? You'd say, let's flip on this card. If I'm selling you this card for $50, or we flip for it, and it's either free and you get $100, or however it would work. But you would functionally just sell. You would sell a chance at getting 100 for 55, or 10,000 for 5,500, and people would probably do it. People would probably be doing it, layering gambling on, like, just take all the stuff away. A lot of people in this space are gamblers, myself included. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it if there was a house edge built in. But that's what people are doing when they do these flips. It's like the vendor is winning in both instances almost every time. So it's just interesting to see those things. I remember getting crap when I said there are a lot of people who don't know Pokemon Center exists in a Discord. Yeah, we are chronically online. We are hyper engaged. A lot of people assume everyone else has the same information you have when they really don't. They really don't. Kids got it easy now. You can just buy all the marshmallows in a bag versus picking them out of Lucky Charms. Oh man. That is actually hilarious. New business model. Get your brain scan and your sealed Pokemon scans on one visit for a special price. And then Herblore says, we have good news and we have bad news. It's like, oh my god. That's dark. That's real dark. I would give this less than a 5% chance. That's mostly just ramblings of a madman who has little to no idea how true that is. But less than a 5% chance. Imagine, and not even selling it to a consumer. But if someone can in-house a machine for $100,000 or for $250,000 that scans boxes at a true cost to them of only $5 a box, like there's two things. Selling a product, selling a process to a consumer for $5 is very different for being able to do it for $5. So like PSA probably grades cards for less than $5 a card. I don't know for sure what the numbers are. 10 years ago, they used to do it for $6. I'm pretty damn sure PSA is grading cards for less than $5. They probably can't profitably sell it to us for $5, almost certainly, but they can do it themselves for $5. So if you have a massive company in this space, if a distributor decides to get a CT scanner, if a massive brakes channel, if a massive brick and mortar operation decides to get a CT scanner, that can have a lot of damage. So I'm gonna wrap up relatively soon, I think, but let me continue on. Your Charizard has a crease and so does your brain. Oh man. Are you going to be buying any on-sale vintage packs for fun in the next few weeks? No. My ripping days are mostly behind me. How long do I think it's been going on? Some deep, dark place. It's probably been going on for over a year. Maybe primarily in the sports space. If the people were smart, they would have kept it very on the down low. They would have not been talking about it in a super secret paywall Discord. That information would have got out quickly if it wasn't just found out by a very select small few people. But it wouldn't surprise me if it's been going on for over a year in some segment. How many older sets out there have a chase card more expensive than a single loose pack? Few unless you allow for a PSA 10, but most don't have a PSA 10. How many modern sets are worth scanning? Knowing the pull rates, you need to scan 60 boxes before you find a single Moonbreon on average. I think it's closer to 30, but still, your point stands. Yeah, your point stands for sure. 5% House Edge, this man is worse than some slots. Dan's version of a mystery pack, never thought I'd see the day. That is approximately a 10% edge. So yeah, if you're charging 55 to pay 100, that would be very negative EV for the participant, because they're paying 55 on because the EV of that would be well, it'd be 55 times 0.5, so it'd be my brain is clearly dying. Whether it be 5% or 10%, I think it would be closer to 10% edge. My brain is completely failing me. I made a joke in Discord having a conversation that maybe the MetaZoo packs are so cheaply made, maybe the foil is so thin and cheap that they can't be scanned. Maybe my Kickstarter box is safe. I genuinely have no idea, but it's a fun thought to have. I'm going to end very shortly. I appreciate everyone watching. I'm leaning towards posting the first 30 minutes of these rantings and ramblings as a video on Monday. And then a week later, I'll probably do a Collecticon Charlotte recap. And a week later, I'll do the alt TCG player scanning app review or whatever. So with that, yeah, that is everything. If you are at Charlotte this weekend, come say hi. I will post on my Instagram what section I'll be. I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, as always, I appreciate everyone watching.